Hello everybody, welcome back to Medieval Total War in our Spanish Attempted Inheritance campaign. Now, before we get into this, I want to talk about a couple of things. One being some of the comments I've received in the past few videos. There have been, in case you maybe just watch the videos and don't take a look at the comments, there are some very nice pieces of advice, hypotheses that are being provided by people, so it is worth checking that out if you are interested in getting some more data on just how the game works in general, because there are people who watch the series who are more informed than I am about certain things, or certainly seem to have a better idea about certain things than I do. And there was one of those comments, Khan of Step, great channel by the way, Khan of Step, Khan of Step. Go check him out. He plays a lot of this era of games. He's going through an English campaign currently, Medieval Total War. He's done a bunch, and he's got a great way of sort of explaining the game as he understands it. Very, very entertaining to watch him sort of learn through the game and give me new things to think about. And I've been playing this for decades, and he's relatively new. That's the interesting thing. But unlike a lot of newer players, he is really immersing himself into these older games and enjoying them for what they are. So it's really fun to watch him play. And he had some suggestions for me as I was going through the campaign here. I think first and foremost among those would be accept more marriage offers. So I have been holding out a bit. I've been a little hesitant to allow just any old person to marry into my family, because I've been, I think, afraid that will prevent me from getting other marriage officers. It may mean that I'll never be able to marry into that faction again. But he said that is not the case, so we may give that a shot. Try to be a little less selective about who we're marrying and try to see if we can establish stronger ties maybe between some factions. For example, we are allied, we're not allied with the Aragonese, but we are allied with the Danes, we're allied with the Germans relative to the papacy. These two we're never going to inherit anything from. I'm pretty sure we can't inherit from the Germans. But we could, if the Aragonese were to throw me a princess, maybe I should just go for it. For example, here, I mean, he's got a ton of princes, but he's due to die, right? Like, so if the next king offers me the hand of his princess, it might be worth considering that. So that, I think, is sort of the chief thing, because I do have quite a few heirs who are not married. Chief of those currently is Prince Ferdinand. He's the heir apparent. He's 16, which is great. He's very disloyal. Good command, but a secret blackmailer. We want to find a wife for him. And I think in the last episode we were thinking that England might be a good place to go looking for that, because the English, let's find an assassin nearby. We've got one in Denmark. Let's just go over to double check this. We do have an heir somewhere in the English territories. So not here, but here. And so this is a bit tricky, because we need to somehow get at this prince, which is not possible to do. If he is under a stack where his father is the leader, we'll only be assassinating the top member of the stack, right? We could go after both of these guys. That shouldn't be too challenging. There is a border fort here, so that's going to make things a bit tougher. But maybe we'll wait and see if some of these princes spread out into other provinces. There's none up here right now. And if we go into, like, are we going into Wales with you? Let's send you to Wales. If we go to Wales, we'll just see if there is another English prince there. And we'll try to get tabs on them. And we will see. The second thing I want to talk about here is that you may know that I just recently released a video where I did inherit some territory, but of course it wasn't in this campaign. I was playing just on my own a Scots campaign in the Viking Invasion expansion, and I managed to inherit some territory there. I wasn't recording at the time, but as soon as I achieved that, I recorded, I saved the game, I recorded, loaded it up, and kind of walked through it, and even reloaded from an earlier save to show you how things had progressed. What I think I've learned from that is going to influence how I play this campaign. And what I think I've learned is that you want to eliminate a faction by making sure that the only king who you kill is the one who you made the marriage deal with, or the one in whose reign you married into the family. So, in other words, if I get an English princess here, and I kill him and his heir takes over, and then I kill his heir and eliminate the faction, I think the deal is off. Because it seems like the deal is made with the king. And when the king dies and passes on his reign to his son or his brother or whoever, then the deal he made regarding the marriage alliance, or if it wasn't an alliance, maybe you asked the princess to marry you, that didn't result in an alliance, but it got you a marriage, the inheritance deal is off because it was under the auspices of this king. That's kind of the theory I'm developing based on how that Scots campaign went. So again, check out that video if you're interested to see how that may work. And we'll just kind of keep this going. Now, I think I do want to bring my assassins back. They're not doing too hot in terms of their stats, but we'll bring them down here so we can have them just be a little safe, and maybe they can work up some XP. Let's see. We only have... Okay, we do have rank 2 assassins coming out here, but we don't have too many of them. We spent a lot of time going after the Danes, and I think it just makes sense to cease that. Hard to kill seems to be definitely true, and so I think... That said, we do have a Danish. All right, let's see here, because here's the other complicating factor. Is there anyone with royal blood? And I'm not seeing it. There would be a crown here, so this is where royal blood appears. I think our assassins are just not good enough. 1 star, 1 star, 2 star, 2 star. I think we want a few more 2 stars. And then we may go back to trying to kill the Danes, because currently the heir apparent... Sorry, no. Alfonso's not the heir apparent. That's right. Okay. We may try it anyway. Get a few assassins, and Alfonso is married to a Danish princess. He's 41 years old, so we don't have a ton of time here. But in my Scots campaign, the way it worked out was the guy who was married to the Northumbrian princess, which I inherited from, was this guy, the heir apparent in red. So that suggests to me that maybe he's the one who needs to be... The marriage offer needs to be with this one. Now, Ferdinand doesn't have any marriage offers. We could maybe try to marry this Danish princess, but this guy's hard to kill, right? So I don't know that it makes a ton of sense. If we have a bunch of really high-level assassins, maybe that would be worthwhile. But really, it's kind of tough. In Viking Invasion, you can get to a rookery very soon. You don't have to get up to the fortress level to build a rookery. You can get it at like the level of the fort or something like that. It's a lot shorter and faster building chain to work up. So I think we do need to invest a bit more there. All right. Let's see. In terms of money, that was the other thing Con of Step suggested, that I work to get more territory. But I think at this point... I think at the point he made those comments, I had not yet taken Portugal, and Cordoba may not have been really sort of totally under my control. I think we're doing okay, especially since the Egyptians are at war with the Turks right now. And I've got agents over here to sort of keep an eye on this. I'd love to wait until Syria is built up before we attack the Egyptians and then just kind of go through their territory. And the other thing I'd like to wait for, actually, is, to get a bunch of ships so we can start making big, fat trade income, which we are due at some point. So I think that's the other thing. We've got assassins coming out of both of these places, which I think is important. But we can get ships out of here. So let's keep building barks. And then eventually, actually, we can get one out of Portugal, too. So let's do that. And we'll begin to move our fleets into the east, because there's more trade opportunities here. We are trading with Algeria currently. Africa Coast is dead, no ports there, but we can get down here, and then we've got another dead port, and then we've got kind of the jackpot, right? This little corner, 4 ports in a single sea province. This can also be very active if Anatolia and Antioch can get ports in play. So really the Eastern Mediterranean is very good, and this is so sweet. So there's 3 here, even though we're not trading silk with some of these provinces. So anyway, we just need to get a lot of boats going. I think that's all I want to do this turn. Boats are expensive, so let's just end the year. Yeah, we ran out of money. Okay. It's that fortress that I queued up, and I forgot. So looking back now with our attempt with the French, I think the reason that failed to cause an inheritance was because we killed the king that we made the deal with, and an heir took over, and so the deal was void, essentially. So we want to make sure that that happens. All right, we did start the fortress. Beautiful. Okay, so we did not get both of the ships. Interesting. So I'm not sure what order, but evidently southern provinces take a bit of priority. So that's good. We've got enough money to, let's see, that costs us just 700, right? So 700 there, 200 here for the assassin, 200 for that assassin, so that's 1100. We've got enough money to order all of those things now. Okay, and just checking diplomacy. We don't have any real wars. Alright, so at least now he's not in a border fort province. Now, what that means is, even though Alfonso is currently married to a Danish princess, if we were to kill him and eliminate the faction, I don't think we would inherit, potentially, because I don't believe we made the deal, the marriage, under this guy's reign. I think it was like a brother or something. So we might do it if we get another princess. So let me see if I can find an emissary. We've only got the one in Cordoba. All right, if we were to try this, let's just see. That's going to get us a few turns. We can kind of change our mind. If he gets an heir, I'm going to change my mind. Again, hard to kill. I don't know if that's something we can really beat. With enough assassins, maybe. And we are training some every turn. But if we can get our actual heir apparent married, that creates a new deal, I believe. And then if we kill this king that we made the deal with, and the faction is eliminated, the deal, under the terms of that new deal, we've got a claim. That's my suspicion. All right, we've got Prince Gark is of age, so that's another person to get married off. Where is my emissary? He's in Denmark. And the princess is still down in Franconia. She's 25. I don't think it matters too much. All right, there's still no border forts there, so maybe it's time to move these assassins up into Denmark. There's 3 2-stars. Let's see what the odds are. 17. And we've got, let's just, 2, 3, 4. All right, so one of them is in Portugal. All the rest are 1-stars. Well, let's bring them all. At least they won't have to worry about the border fort as long as he stays put in Saxony. Maybe I should just move some of the emissaries or the inquisitors out of here, just to make life easier. Move some in Sweden. Move you down into Saxony. You can go to Flanders. Okay, there's no princes there. The other thing, though, is I think it also matters if there's royal blood. If there is a person who does not have the prince icon, like these guys have this little prince icon, but they've also got the royal blood icon. Now, sometimes you see royal knights, and sometimes those royal knights are not princes, but they do have a crown, which is royal blood. I think what that means is they can inherit. So even though you can queue up an assassination on the king, and it'll say, oh yeah, there's no heirs. Like, yes, there's no heirs in terms of the list of princes, if you could see that, which you can't. Like, there would be nothing here, but there is an heir in the sense that they have a claim to the throne in the absence of any other heirs, right? So I think that's what that means. Okay, so it's time to start moving these guys east. Let's see. Let's go up here, and then next turn we can move them up into here just for some kind of immediate cheap results. 1977. Okay. We're going to get another assassin trained up, which is fine, but that's not going to matter too much. It's going to take him too long to get where he needs to be. So we'll just hope that those like 6 or so work after we get the marriage. If we do, we might not, right? All right, so for spending, we've still got 400 tied up in assassins. All right, nothing new there. Let's see, we do want money though. So that's making 1111. I make 1245. 2500, that is a lot. 886 goes up to 1022. I think that's worth it for 1500 in a really safe province. All right, he moved back to... I moved back to the border fort province, so well. We may call this all off then. Oh, we killed 15,000 people up in Flanders. Okay, no, we're not going to ally with you. If it was a princess offer, I would think about it. All right, still no princes. Now that he's here... Oh, there is a prince. Okay, Prince Svein. I feel like I'm vacillating a lot, but the border fort plus hard to kill seems really tough to overcome. Alright, let's cancel. Just give me some time to think here, because there's English princesses kicking around. I'd love to assassinate this guy, but there's no point with all these other sons. Now, when he dies, there will be... probably some of these princes are going to get kicked out as princes, right? Like some of these 43-year-olds. So that could be a really good opportunity for us. All right, I do want an inquisitor... or someone down in Burgundy, because I need to know what's going to happen here. Yeah, I just don't like my odds. No assassins are higher than 2 stars here. Okay, let's start moving inquisitors into, like, Poland. Silesia, you can go to Brandenburg. And any others? I may not need an agent in Denmark because I can see it thanks to my ship there. Alright, we are actually, yeah, we're going crazy in Flanders. I don't need all of this. Some of you can go to Lorraine. Go to Swabia. Go to Switzerland. And we don't even need one there at all. You go to Bavaria, I think. I think that should cover just about everything. Alright, Castile, you can go... Let's have you go into... Antioch. What else am I training here? Let's get bishops. Money seems okay. go here, here. And then we'll have a new ship here next turn. So 700. And, you know, it might make more sense to get ships, like, going around the north side, because there's some ports. Here's a port. Here's a port, right? This is the only dead sea zone. And then we can go here, 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 and here, and here. So I think that makes sense. Now, it does make sense to have ships, like, all over the place, because it will prevent, like, the Egyptians, let's say, from just conquering my territory, or just make it harder for them to move around if they decide to invade. But let's see. Okay, so if we're abandoning the Danish thing, we're just kind of in a holding pattern. We're waiting. I think that's fine. Normal, high, very high. Let's see what else we can build here for public order. I know border forts, but I don't think there's really anything else. We could, you know, go for an inn, I suppose. Just train units. Chapter House is another place for crusade, but I don't really want a crusade out of here. Like, I guess we could go spies in Portugal. It's 500. Let's do it. I really don't want the Egyptians to wreck the Turks. My emissary's killed. All right, well, that's... Oh, wow. Catholic bandits. All right, so maybe that'll force some of them to move into Saxony. Either the king or the prince. All right. Most eloquent and envy. That is very bad. -3 loyalty. But he's Duke of Valencia. Man, he is a prime candidate for a rebellion if he were to lose a lot more loyalty. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. All right, Prince Garth. We'll just keep you in the stack with Dad or your brother, whoever this guy is. Yeah, Dad. All right, Ferdinand's 20. Felipe's 47. All right, Prince. Yeah, Prince Pedro, we already had him in the record. He'll be coming of age in a few years. All right, well, I need an emissary now. So we'll change that. And we could, you know, we may want to start really looking for a princess for the heir. I just wish that guy hadn't gotten the hard-to-kill line, but it is a, I guess it's a professional risk. All right, there's my princess, 25. Let's get her Prussia. And actually, we've got 2 agents here. We can go to Moldavia. That's probably Turkish as well. Yeah, it'd be a big disappointment if, you know, the Egyptians just steamroll the Turks, but that looks like it's going to happen, doesn't it? The other reason I'm kind of holding back from getting involved in the East is because I know the Mongols are going to emerge at some point. Now, let's give it another couple of years. Some of these kings are going to get older, die of old age, and we can find out which one of them is like the likeliest target. Actually, the Byzantines might be one. Oh, okay, the French. French might advance things on our behalf. All right, good for the Turks. Get up to Lithuania. Whoa. Oh, damn, I should have done it. I think they're going to lose that king. they might just get eliminated then. Because they've got nothing else. Did they have Franconia? Did I misread this? Was this a Polish? I probably did. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Where's the king? All right, now he's still there. His heir. Where's his heir? Nope, not there. Not here. So probably in that fort. All right. So now the difficulty is, let's see, how much longer is he going to be around? Well, okay. Now I've got an emissary. We've got an extra inquisitor too. I think one of them is on his way to Bohemia. I think almost all of this is covered. You can go back to Lithuania, I guess. I'm kind of curious about the Byzantines. Let's see where they are. Are they on Crete? They probably are. Crete, Rhodes, and I assume Cyprus too. Turks have Cyprus. Wow. Okay, so let's go to Rhodes. That's where the emperor is. And let's go here. That's where the other part of their faction is located. Okay, we'll go down to Armenia. Keep an eye on the frontier. All right, make it 2468. And one more turn. So we're trading here. Let's just keep pushing the ships out in that direction. So you can go down to Sardinia. Here, here, here. Once my trading lines start to get kind of long like this, I do get a little nervous. Let's queue up another one. Because there's a chance that, you know, the AI will just attack my ships for almost no reason. You do see that happening sometimes. But alright, yeah, this is really all the king has for the English, you know, in terms of territories anyway. It's not a lot. He's just got too many princes. So I assume the heir of the Danes is in that castle in, like, Flanders, or no, Friesland, which is under siege by the French. All right, good for you. The Egyptians try but fail. Turks are the strongest. Toulouse, Poland. No thanks. All right, Italy. Okay. Now, the Italians are in a very bad state. They actually do have Tuscany. Okay, I was not aware of that. I thought they were completely kicked out because I knew that the Germans had Genoa and Venice. But I didn't know that they had, the Italians had Tuscany. So that's actually kind of cool. Should I go for it? You know, I'm planning to wipe out the Danes. And so here's the thing. I think that's where the prince was located of the Danes, and I think he's now dead, and I don't think they have any other princes. So my options are, if I refuse this, try to get a Danish marriage and assassinate the Danish king, and, you know, hope that that works. It might not, though, because he's got such high valor against assassins. My other option is to see how this is going to work, and I just have no idea, because I haven't been in these parts of the world. I don't know how strong Tuscany is. It looks like there is a crown in this stack, so in addition to the king, there is another prince. And I think that is very bad luck for me, because if there's a prince underneath the king, this deal will be irrelevant when the king dies, and I I can't kill this king without basically guaranteeing that there will be another king who takes over and continues the faction with the deal being wiped out. Again, if I'm correct. But I've done this a lot, where I accept a marriage offer, and then I wipe out the faction, and I go through like a couple generations of kings, and then I inherit nothing when I finally do eliminate them. So I think we don't want to do this. Yeah, I'm going to say no. All right, let's see what we have here. So, just tons of princes. Okay, we watch when he dies, and maybe we look for a Byzantine princess in the meantime, because this may all clean out. But they've got nothing to do. Let's see. Okay, I can't actually see inside. They've got ships preventing me from looking. But we've got agents we can throw in. So let's you go to Corsica. And let's you go to eventually Tuscany. All right. No heirs. All right, Princess Sigrid is right there, but it looks like she's moving somewhere. And I believe there's another Danish princess somewhere on the map. But she may have aged out. Or maybe I just saw it wrong. Okay, I don't think so, so we'll go for Sigrid. Alright, there's the Polish bishop who just tried to ally with me. There's my emissary. He's got no valor at all. I'm just really trying to check here. So, she may just move off and keep me dancing for a few years. So, what I have to do is wait until I get that marriage offer, I think. Oh, wait, no, it's not an alliance. It is a marriage. All right, so again, that would be to Prince Ferdinand, who's currently unmarried and in direct line to the throne. Once I get that working, I'm going to go for it. The other thing is I could do this as a test right now, right? And why don't I make a save? Because one of the things that I want to do is, maybe not cheat a little bit, but let's call this 1194 test. But yeah, this is about experimenting, right? And running different criteria through the system. It's not so much about playing the campaign. So I've made a save, and in this save, what I want to try to do right now is not even wait for the marriage offer. I'm just going to throw everybody at this guy and see if there's any chance, A, of me killing him. Now, because he's in Denmark, I can bring in some other assassins this turn as well. Because I've been training them. So I've got 3 more. And then I've got 3 down here. 1 stars, but you never know. No border forts, at least they'll be able to avoid that hassle. And all of these little 17, 24% chances are going to kind of add up. It doesn't work exactly that way, but it feels like it does. All right, and just make sure we're still training. Actually, for this, I think I'm going to take a turn. Take 3 turns out so we can just keep getting ships. Maybe I don't need to, but I kind of want to expand my fleet a little more quickly. So we'll see if that works. We are married to a Danish princess, but he's not our... The marriage is not with our current heir, and it was not made with this king's... under this king's auspices, right? I think that's maybe the more important thing. All right, we got him. But we didn't get a message. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to reload. We would have gotten a message there, and also it would have shown us owning territory if we had actually inherited. So again, I don't know that that the heir matters, but I think it's maybe more we need to get the marriage offer first. So we've got our emissary going to try to make a marriage offer. She is in Denmark right now, and we'll see if he can get there. All right, she's going up to Sweden. There's another Danish princess in Pomerania. All right, she might be more easy to track down. All right, our Inquisitor is assassinated. All right, Aragonese heir. All right, our emissary is now in Denmark, and she does not look like she's moving. She is 26. She's 30. Okay, so definitely go with the 26-year-old. We get about 10 years of her. Now, we know we can kill this guy, but I think what we want to make sure of, again, is that we've got a marriage deal with him. So, meantime, let's actually train up some emissaries, because I'm a little worried that we're going to just run out of emissaries. All right. Let's queue up a ship, and here we've got a ship. All right, we've got no more assassins. All right, because I think I forgot to queue up all of this stuff. All right, so we'll leave you guys here. Let's see, 7. We've got almost 10,000 again. All right, so there's the fleet. Very high. All right, I think we need to go for a castle in Portugal. Like, we may as well. We're going to need to build stuff up. 424, yeah, that's not good enough of a return, I think. This might be worth upgrading, though, actually. Let's spend 1,000 on the merchant, because we're making 564 out of the trading post. So that's 1,000, and since we're building ships, I'm going to call that good. All right, and there's our guy. Hopefully he'll get to the princess, and hopefully we will get an agreement. And then we'll kill her brother or whatever. Okay, Aragonese going for Aquitaine. Good. And the French take Swabia. We've got Prince Pedro, who's come of age. That's very nice. Oh, interesting. The Germans are going to Sicily. Oh, this is so fun. The Pope has taken Naples. That is really cool. All right. Okay, we're already allied with the Danes, so I'm going to say no. Declined. Screw you. Okay. All right, well, let's try again. Where's your older, homelier sister? 31. I don't think we're going to make it. Let's try it, though. Maybe they'd be willing to give her up. And let's see. 51 years old. Prince Pedro has come of age. And so now, again, see, because this is like the sons of the current king, and these are all his brothers. So Gark is a... Wait, Gark. Shouldn't Gark be up here? Gark must have been a son of the older regime. I'm going to put that as a question mark. I thought he was a son of the current king, Felipe. Gark is 22, Felipe is 51. But maybe he was the last son of his dad. All right, so we've got our emissary asking for marriage, and I'm going to try again with this guy for Actually, no, I shouldn't, because if they both say yes, then we've got a couple of heirs tied up with the Danes, and we don't necessarily want that, I think. All right, let's just check ships, because we got to keep moving them around. And I'm already falling behind in that. We could get a ship here, but there's still no other ports. So I think it does make sense to move south. All right, and this is going to give us eyes on Sicily and trade with Sicily. And we do have, let's see, in a couple of turns we'll have a ship there and here. Yeah, let's do a ship out of Leon. And let's go with, let's see, let's go with a metalsmith in Leon, actually. Whoops. I wanted to check. I accidentally pressed enter at the same time as I pressed shift, so it's a little weird. Okay, so we've got a marriage request to a different Danish princess. Trying to get her heir married. We'll see what the Aragonese do, because, you know, they just lost a king, I think, and they might be ripe for some alliance. Okay, so they're just going to withdraw. Germans take Swabia. The French have declared crusade on Antioch. Decline. So the Danes don't want anything to do to me. Yeah, see, this is what I was a little concerned about, because sometimes they just decide that they don't want to give you any more of their princesses. All right, there are border forts here, and there are a ton of princesses. So I am glad I made that move. I mean, a lot of them are going to die out, but I think this guy's still going to be relevant. So, you know, some of these guys are almost as old as the king. So we'll keep that in mind. We can try marrying an Italian princess. At least theoretically. I'm curious about what's on Cyprus. I know it's Turkish. And you can go... Let's see, I guess I don't know what's happening in Bavaria. I thought I sent an agent down there. It's Sigurd, Ingrid, and Astrid. Okay, let's go for Astrid. Sometimes they do agree, right, with just a different request. All right, still nothing being built there. And I got to start moving ships now, because next turn we'll have another boat out of Portugal, right? So this is going to be a dead sea zone. The Ionian Sea. But one more ship, and actually it'll be even kind of less than a turn. And then we'll get into the what is it, the Adriatic. Right, 360 is okay. Did we finish? Not quite. So another couple of turns for that. Right, Castile. Let's go with let's see, Castile. We're only going for attack stuff, so it probably does make sense to go for swords out of there. Okay, another Inquisitor assassinated. French take Burgundy. Alright, Turks take or take back Lesser Armenia. Aragon. Alright. I think I'm going to take this. There are not many Aragonese left, I assume. Now, that's definitely a crown. I mean, you can't see it probably, but this other stack is led by a prince. Oh my gosh, so I don't know. But I know that there are 0 border forts in Aragon. This is a high star general, and there may be several princes, but I'm going to take it anyway. All right, so we are allied with Aragon by marriage. Now Prince Ferdinand, our heir, is married to an Aragonese princess. Let's check who the king is again. Enrique the First. All right, so he's going to be king for a long time, actually. All right, so Aragon, Enrique the First. So that could be good. See, none of these guys are princes. Although this guy, we got to, I think, watch for this, could take over, and he could take over. But there's a chance that the game does track these guys. It doesn't give you ages of them anymore, but they will die of old age eventually, and then the royal blood marker will be removed. All right, so what's this? Okay, this guy. That sucks. We would have to kill this guy who's not even a prince just to get to Prince Felipe, but he's 30. And you are married. All right. Well, pretty soon we will have 3-star assassins. Let's move all of these guys up. And, you know, killing a king, let's see, what is this? That's harder than killing the king. Wow. All right, we still have our emissary asking for her hand, and she's down in Saxony. She's not moving, and he still doesn't have any heirs. No one of royal blood up here. So there's still a chance that we could get, you know, a different heir married to the Danish princess, at least make the deal with this, with the current Danish king, and then assassinate him, and then have everything work out. Okay, we've got another ship. So now we're going to make this go over to here. Adriatic Ocean. So there's going to be a decent amount of trade goods we're going to be able to export here. And then we got to do one more ship to get to Greece, basically, to trade with them. So that's actually something we can start on this turn, at least part of it. And yeah, this will go there. Barks are not the most cost-effective thing, unfortunately, but we can't make anything else, at least with our current ship infrastructure. So we'll need to invest a bit in that. Do we want to go for Citadel? I think so. You know, I am training assassins out of here. I may as well. Valencia is important. 4,000. It's a third of my current treasury, but I think it is a worthwhile investment to have a couple of citadels. All right. I think we're good. Actually, that general with the 5 stars might be a prime target for all of my inquisitors. The Aragonese guy who's shielding the prince. Okay. Dominicans, Hounds of the Lord. Nice. Bunch of zeal. Okay. We're not going to get a marriage with the Danes, unfortunately. Oh, that sucks so much. Well, there's no prince here anymore. Oh, he's been moved in. Oh, that's even worse. That is so bad. They shuffled him over. All right. So I think what this means again is that, like, if we want to eliminate the faction and have a chance at inheriting land, we need to kill the king, right? But we can't kill the king and then also kill this guy in the same turn, right? Or we can't choose to kill this guy because he's under the stack. To curse you. Alright, she's going to turn 34 soon. Surely you've got no better use for her than shoring up an important alliance, right? Oh, did I move a guy out here? I shouldn't. I failed to move one of my ships. Okay, but you can come down. You can come down. Yeah. So it's a little messy, but we are going to get over there. And I think our trade really, you know, our income is really going to start booming now. Okay, I don't really want to hurt the Turks, so I will switch this up. They're not doing anything with the place anyway, and they're not doing anything with this. It's super disappointing. But at least they haven't taken Edessa yet, so we'll keep an eye on that. And he's 32. Yeah, we're just going to try again. Now, I guess we can also check the English, because interestingly now, the king is separate from the others. So he's been using his sons to attack. Border forts in both of these provinces. And there's a civil war. Is this French? This might have been. Very interesting. Unfortunately, there is no port in either of these provinces, so it's going to make it a little slow to get there. I think Normandy might have border forts. Flanders definitely does. All right, so we've got Pedro, who could be married to like an English princess, but again, I think it's the father that's actually more of a problem. So maybe we want to wait for him to die in a couple of turns, and our own king to die as well. There's that French crusade. What moved? The Egyptians just invaded Greece. Alright, we're losing Inquisitors. And the Germans are attacking the Poles. Wow. Alright, Byzantines have died. It's time to check Byzantium. Yep, no dice with the Danes. But how is this now? Alright, there are 2 heirs. I mean, they are so hard to kill. And it would have to be assassins, too, so let's get, like... So, a 2-star. I think that's the best we have. That's a 7% chance. He's 30, his brother is 23. It's not going to work out this turn, even if we could find a Byzantine princess, which there may be. It's just we're going to have a very hard time wiping them out. And the Danes, it's almost like they know we've got tons of assassins around and we're just waiting for them to give us a princess. All right, 32 and 33. If we could just get rid of you. Is there any other Aragonese princess? Okay, I would say not. And this hasn't changed. He's 62, so we'll kind of keep it in mind. But there's no princes over here. That's good. Royal blood? Nope, no royal blood. So really the entire royal family is on Corsica. Border forts, but at least there's a port there so we can get to it. And let's see, he's gonna die. Like, this is actually kind of a reasonable candidate, but I think we want to make the marriage happen after he dies. We'll see what the lay of the land looks like in terms of heirs in a couple of turns. Yeah, again, I think I want to wait for him to die. I mean, we could move our assassins down to Normandy. Yeah, there's a border fort there. We could try here. Oh no, there's 4 princes inside this stack. Okay, so what we do is instead is we try with Inquisitors. Alright, where are my Inquisitors? Let's get some bishops out around into the world. Let's get one on Malta and... yeah, one in Georgia again. Okay, so let's actually focus on some Inquisitors here. We're making a lot less money. Is it because I moved a ship when I shouldn't have? I think I did. I just misjudged when that ship was going to be done. Alright, so let's get another one going. And how's Portugal looking? 115, it's worse. Alright, I really don't want to do a border fort, but let's see, how much is this making? Oh, it's a lot less because we're not connected to a trade route, and it's going to be impossible to remember anyway. Because at the time we checked, it was like 550 or so that the trading post was making. Our trade routes look very different now. All right, so let's go with a castle here and bring taxes down just so I can sleep a little better at night. All right, this is another Danish princess, Irish, Italian princess. All right, no Amulgavars over here, and so I think that's it. All right. That French Crusade is coming at a really good time in terms of screwing up the Turks. Let's see, Bohemia. Yep. Oh, man. But now the French are going to be at war with the Egyptians, too. And there's a rebellion. Another big civil war, it looks like. Alright, so somehow the Sicilians have managed to, you know, to survive, even though they had a crusade coming against them. Alright, nope. So, we've got an extra boat here. You're going to come over here, and you can go to the Mertun Sea. I do have an extra fleet. So, it's again, it's a little messy. Alright, but that does connect things, and now I'm making 3,000. So quite a difference. Yeah, go for one more. He's 34. Still no heirs. But if we can't marry the princess, I don't think it... I don't think it's gonna matter. Because we've done this before, right? So, let's see. 58, 56. Alright. Looks a little different, but nothing imperative. So I'm curious what the French Crusade is going to do once it reaches Constantinople. A big Turkish counterattack into Bulgaria. They're going to take that back because I think the Crusade is moving on, but maybe not. So the French might be in trouble again. And actually, that might be something to keep in mind. Good. Good. The Italians are spreading out again. I'd like to see that rather than just tons of rebels. All right, Italian Doge. All right, so check out the Italians again. And no. All right. Byzantines. Yep, just too many princes there. So, Italians. All right, so there are 2 princes in Corsica. Now they're separate from their dad. They'd be good assassination targets. I can't quite see what this is, so we do need to keep getting agents. All right, there's another prince under here, and they've switched again. Okay, so actually, what are the odds of this? 26, that's actually quite good. 26, 26. And you're another Inquisitor who's right there. That's another 26%. I want better odds than that, but we won't be able to get anyone down there this turn. So we'll just keep training him up, and we'll see if he is going to die, and then we can assassinate him, and then maybe inherit when Ferdinand is the king. I think that would be fine. I think we should be able to inherit. But we need Enrique I to be the one who dies, and in dying, wipes out the faction. All right, so keep our assassins on standby for that. I think that princess got trundled off to a nunnery. But let's check out the French king. Where is he? Okay, right here. 43. Do you have any heirs? All right, he does. And I can't see where that is right now. Northumbria. All right, I need a lot more agents. And it's kind of tough because Inquisitors, you know, make good agents in the sense that they're less likely to be assassinated, I think, because they've typically got, you know, that high valor when you get them out of Castile. Okay, so Leon, since we're doing ships here, let's go for that. Even though we can't get anything new yet, we will need it eventually. Okay, right, and we've got an extra ship here. So you go here and here. And I guess I don't need a bishop on Crete, really. Yeah, that crusade, I think, is doomed. 751 men, not nearly enough to deal with all of this. Good, I say. Actually, what does the Sicilians look like? Nothing there, but they've got, you know, a king with heirs and stuff. So let's see if we can burn out that general from Aragon. Wow, the French. So the Danes might just get eliminated anyway here. Boo. All right, Italians retreated out of Venice, but I like that they're trying. Okay, so now Ferdinand is the heir. All right, and the Danes don't want to marry us. Ferdinand is the king, rather. King Ferdinand I married to an Aragonese princess. He's got no traits because he can't be a blackmailer or a secret blackmailer to himself. And how's loyalty? Not looking too hot for some of these guys. Let's do a quick tour. It's actually fine. Except for, like, the immediate princes. So we'll just put him, let's maybe put him in Leon because he's not such a great general, it turns out. And I think, yeah, we'll take you down here. We'll do the long shift to make sure everything's looking good. There we go. We'll get someone, sort of some eyes on Rhodes, and 33. Yeah, I don't think anything's going to change with regard to the Byzantines. I don't think they're going to make a good target for us. All right, but we can try again, right? Like with this guy, he's an atheist, so we just keep going. And now we've got another one. 55, you know? I mean, like, that's pretty decent. We've got two, let's put an assassin up here, up here, up here, and down here. Okay. What do we want to build? Yeah, I think we want this. We didn't have the option to make Spanish Jeanettes, so I'm kind of surprised. All right, and yeah, look at the loyalty here. It just seems to be going down. So we get an assassin in there to catch other assassins, and I think spies too. All right, let's go for another ship. Now, maybe that rebel presence in Toulouse will eventually get the Aragonese to move out and shuffle around their princes and things. All right, we got him. All right, Italian king. Why did you get caught in Grenada? I guess I forgot that I had one there. Alright, so let's check the heirs here. I forgot to do that. Prince Pedro, 24. Yeah, Garc is off the list. So Garc was actually from another generation. So I'm just going to make that sort of a quick adjustment here. He's not actually of this line. So my only heir is Pedro, and he is unmarried. I guess I'm glad he got married. And so now you got to start having some kids. But Pedro is, yeah, right here. And notice this guy is still royal blood, Garc. All right, so let's get Pedro a likely looking wife. I don't suppose the Danes would be interested. I'm just kind of shocked that they don't have any heirs yet. Okay, so... Ooh. Oh, they shuffled again. Damn it. So, no... Okay, there is royal blood here. None here, and none here. Alright, well, how about we just keep doing this? And then, you know, eventually... Where are you? You're a 4-star. So, like, for killing that one guy, you get 2 stars. All right. Maybe we're telegraphing our moves a bit too much. I really wish you could select targets, but I guess it makes sense that there's some way to counter it. All right. And what do we want to do? We do have another ship. This will be over soon, I promise. We just need to do this a few more times, and then we will have all of the routes we want. And we won't have to move them all like this. I'd go up here, you know, and I do want to eventually. But of course, it's like a dead sea zone for right now. There's no ports there. Here is what we want, and then one more to get down to the Nile coast. Okay, and then that's going to be a couple of turns. Let's go with another ship. Maybe that can go up to... Actually, you know what? Let's get a bunch more bishops. Wow, the Crusade made it to Constantinople. All right. got him. All right. No, but let's... All right, we got homeless. Sure, whatever. Let's check out the Italian situation again. So no princes here. There is a guy of royal blood, so that's going to screw things up a bit. There are no princes here and no one of royal blood. But I bet they own Milan. No, that's rebel. And the Germans own that. All right. That's kind of cool. And there are no border forts here, but of course there are here. So we could try our Inquisitor thing over here to get rid of those agents. All right, now Felipe is exposed. See? All right, so you can kind of force them to shuffle things, I think. I don't know, maybe they shuffle randomly. But I think you can kind of help it along. All right, so that's Prince Felipe. We're going to send all of them after you. If you, like, start removing generals from a stack, they're going to maybe want to move a higher star general over to take charge of that stack. And that might be a prince. And maybe it's just like they just make changes, and by you doing stuff, that encourages them to make more changes. Even if the best thing they could do right now is keep that prince right with the king. All right, one more turn for that boat. 2 for that. So that means we've got one coming into the sea region. So now we can get into the Nile coast. Every Total War game has some annoying chore. And some of them have many annoying chores. And for Medieval Total War, it's moving your ships one sea region at a time. Okay. No heirs still. We got no sons coming, but actually we do have some princesses that are, I'm assuming, Ferdinand's princesses. So that's Berenguela and Maria. All right, they don't matter too much, but it's good to get into the habit of keeping track. And you can go... Let's go to Venice, or, like, let's go to Milan, actually. Fail. Oof. Alright, we got him. Alright, a son. That is awesome. So let's check out our... We're actually doing pretty good in terms of our glorious achievements. It's too late for Crusades now. Now, also, interestingly, we're now in the high period. So 1204. That means that we're going to see some different unit types, and I should have noticed that before because the General's Bodyguard unit was upgraded, and I noticed it, but I didn't quite register. So no more Crusade targets for points, but we are available, getting some different types of units, right? So here's our Chivalric Men-at-Arms, and we get Crossbowmen, right? These are units that would only become available in the high period. So that's cool. It's, again, not like super relevant for us, I guess. Let's just keep going with what we're doing here. Okay, so now, is there anyone of royal... Yes, there's this guy. Damn, okay. All right, so that is a problem. We get 2 guys of royal blood. Now, if he does not shuffle these things, we can't do anything about this. That is unfortunate. Because if we were to assassinate him now, I am quite sure what would happen is that one of these guys will take over the throne. And even though it's telling me he has no heir, I don't believe that for a second. So let me just verify this. Let's make a save, and we will test that to see if we can, first of all, see if we can assassinate that guy. There's 1206 test. Oh. It just kind of adds test onto the end of things now. All right. Yeah, that's... All right, go for it. All right, resume game. Yes, so let's assassinate the king if we can. 10%, 10, 14. All right, so these odds are not good. But this is really just for educational purposes anyway. We're not like... This isn't crucial for right now. Let's see, I guess I can bring you over this turn. And that's that. So, again, we're married. Our current king, Ferdinand, is married to an Aragonese princess, who is the daughter or the sister or whatever of Enrique I. Theoretically, he has no heirs, and the message tells us that, but I'm quite sure that one of those royal blood guys is going to take over, and it'll just say his heir is taken over. That's assuming we kill him. So either way, I'm going to reload if either of those two outcomes occurs. Wow, rebels invade Corsica. All right, I'd like to have it succeed. All right, we got it, but I don't think we got it. Yeah, his heir. See? So I think that's part of the issue. In my video with the Scots, I had been confused as to, like, when I tried it again, I sort of reloaded from an earlier point to try to recreate the inheritance, but it didn't work because when the Northumbrian king was assassinated, there was an heir. And this heir was some 42-year-old, I only noticed on rewatching that video. And he was, in fact, the nobleman who I saw earlier, who had some royal blood. And so I'm positive that what happened is he just inherited the throne. So what we need to do then is wait for him to move his units. So let's see. I don't think there's a ton of purpose in training up a bunch of one-star assassins. Really? We're gonna be pretty close here to working on 3-star assassins. So I think instead, well, why not? It's pretty cheap. We've got so much money now. Wow. So that means actually I think some royal blood guys, or no, they didn't have any in Corsica. I can't remember. But regardless, those guys I don't think are getting away. I could be wrong. Oh, nice. Turkish rebellion in Greece. All right, so Hungary, Holy Roman Empire, England. Okay, so now it's the time to sort of check England. And see if there's anything left. All right, Lord Wulfstan, but really there are 2 princes here still. And there's no princes there, none here. There's him. And he does not have royal blood. And I don't know if there's anybody in Wales. I don't think there is of any importance. And they're not shuffling off. So, I think it probably... If this stack doesn't reshuffle... Oh, did they change? Okay, there's one guy with royal blood. So there were two before, right? So this is the thing. We got to kind of keep an eye on it. When we come back, in the next episode, I need to check Aragon for men of royal blood, and I need to check England to see what can be done here. Because what I could do right now with my Inquisitors, let's see, I've got Prince Pedro, who is still unmarried, right? And fortunately, we do have Prince Enrique coming along, and he will mature hopefully before this king dies. But what we can do is this. Send all of our Inquisitors up here. 0%. Oh, geez. All right, so maybe it's assassins that we need to send. 4 piety is too much for him. Yeah, because that... 19 is okay. I guess we may as well try it. But yeah, 0%. There's just not much of a point to it. We may want to turn our attention here, see if we can work through this stack a little bit, because he's unmarried and young. So we could try to marry one of his princesses, kill his heirs, right? Deal with this stack, and then assassinate him. So I think we may want to switch gears, but we'll also keep an eye on this to see if this guy dies or shifts over to a non-royal blood general. And then we can assassinate King Enrique, which we have pretty decent odds of doing, honestly. And then maybe inheriting. Because I think, again, we've got this Aragonese princess here married to our current king. It might work. Anyway, I hope you stay tuned for that. Let me know if you have any other thoughts about this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care until then.